Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, together with my co-host Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service, jbiztechphilly.com, and as you can see here, columnist for the Jewish Press.
Right, and I'm enjoying all of that, and I also have a column in the Albany Beat, and I talk about how government relates to the Jewish community, or doesn't, as the case may be. But we're going to take a break from government today.
All right, that's
good. We're going to talk
good.
about a social service agency that's in Albany.
That's a lot nicer.
And our guest today is Lisa Galley, who's the Project 5 coordinator at Jewish Family Services of Northeastern New York. Welcome to the Jewish View, Lisa.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's so good to see you.
First thing, what is Project 5?
Well,
They asking for $5?
First I want to ask her, how long have you been doing this as a coordinator?
I've only been there a little bit over a year. I
Okay.
came the end
Gives you enough
of February
experience.
2015.
And you're living the dream. This is
I'm
great.
living I've had multiple previous jobs and I love this one.
Well, I saw that. So anyway, we'll get to that later, but tell us about Project 5 and what are you coordinating?
Project 5 is a volunteer service and we provide transportation for Jewish senior citizens.
And in what are some of the criteria that you look for? I presume a good driving record.
Exactly.
You got to be over 18.
You have to be over 18, you have to be compassionate with senior citizens, and you need to love to drive.
and you can't be impatient.
No.
You have to take your meds, I'll say. You have to take your
Well,
patient pills.
hopefully no meds.
No, the patient pills,
Right.
the figurative.
Right.
And
Where do
because it takes
seniors
a lot.
want to go? What were some of the things that they feel in need? Hey, I want to go there, help me out.
They want to go to the JCC. The JCC has lots of programming for senior citizens. Some of the area shuls have different programming that they want to go to. They want to go to lunch with friends. They want to go to doctor's visits, dentist,
Are they only
things like that.
Can the person who takes advantage of your transportation, do they have to be Jewish, and how do you check?
They do have to be
And
Jewish.
how do you check?
We really can't. We just go by honesty.
Okay.
And
Because,
most of them are. I mean, most people are honest and
I mean, we have
you know.
some families who have names like O'Brien and other names that you wouldn't know that were Jewish, and
well, we ask them what shul they belong to.
okay, I'm
You know,
unaffiliated, so.
Is it matter
No.
also criteria of money? Hey man, you have the money, take a taxi, or
No,
you don't ask that?
we don't ask that. If
And you reimburse for mileage.
we reimburse the drivers for mileage, for the passengers, there's a fee scale for whether they're within town, if they're traveling within town, their
Right.
town or environment. Or,
Municipality.
right, or if they're, like, let's say if they live in Colony and they come to Albany, it's different than if they just stay in Colony.
What's different?
So, the fee scale.
Oh, okay.
So there's basically 3 different zones. So within your town,
How much?
it's $5 one way, $10 round trip.
Oh, okay.
If you're leaving your town, going to another town, but within the same
County.
county, it's $10 one way, 15 round trip. If you leave the county, let's say you go to Saratoga or Rensselaer, or I'm sorry, Schenectady or Rensselaer, it's $15 and $20.
So it must be very hard to coordinate it. For example, I know that my wife, even though she's on the board of the Jewish Family Service, your parent organization, she does volunteer. So she says, well, there's someone in Delmar, and they want to go, like you say, inside the city, or a few miles away, you can't ask them to walk.
Right.
So you're right there, but that must be a real coordination. Talk about coordination over here at the beginning, coordinating. That must be, you're here, I got a volunteer here, and, you don't want to go crisscrossing from Delmar. You go to Colony, and the driver from Colony could pick up someone in Delmar. It must be a real logistical nightmare sometimes.
It can be.
Yeah.
Well, now that
It
we
can
have-
be. I try to find a driver that's close to the passenger.
And
If
how
not,
how
then,
many drivers are on your list that you can choose from?
right now we have about 16.
16, so that's not such a nightmare, because you can, in your own mind, you can imagine, I juggled more than that, and
Well, it sounds like it's a lot,
no,
but
it's-
when you have 3 people going to doctor's appointments at the same time,
Yeah.
Some people will only drive on Mondays, some people can only
Oh.
drive on weekends,
Okay.
some people are still working, so they're driving evenings or weekends only.
So what's the criteria for a senior to take advantage of this? Because on your website, you have the criteria noted. I just want to hear you.
Basically, Jewish and over 60 years old.
No, but like they could be able, it's something about no longer able to drive or drive at night. And, you know, so that's one, you could,
That's
able
not
to
a,
drive but need an occasional ride.
it's not criteria.
Oh.
I mean, we have people that drive,
And
but
then-
if they're going to a doctor's appointment or something like that, and they're uncomfortable, they're not sure of their driving skills, they'll call me and ask for a ride.
Well, sometimes I know even with young people, you have a procedure, and
Right.
they just
Right.
say, hey, don't drive afterwards, we're doing this, or an eye test,
Right.
don't drive.
Right.
So especially a senior citizen goes to an eye doctor, hey, they give you something, a fluid in the eyes, and
Or they go to the oncologist, they're nervous, the
Yeah.
cardiologist, there's many different reasons.
Mhm.
Maybe they're on a new medication and they don't want to drive because they don't know the effects of the medication yet.
No, that's good. That's
That's-
good information. I'm just not,
Yeah.
we're just having a conversation. It's
Right.
not. And then you have like testimonies of people who really enjoyed the experience, either as a driver or as someone who's been driven. And that's a big testament to you,
It's a
To the
very,
service, yeah.
very rewarding experience. That's-
Do you have issues? Like, we all know about how seniors can complain.
Not
Do
too
you-
many.
No,
Not too many. I mean, I had, in all the time that I've been doing, it's only been a year, but there was maybe 1 or 2 complaints. And it's basically because the driver was late.
Uh-huh.
One driver, he still works.
Yeah.
So he couldn't get out of work when he thought he could.
Right.
So getting to the passenger, he was about 10 minutes late.
Well, I
that's a
know,
big crime over here.
when my
It's-
mother lived up here, she's in Philadelphia now for a good reason. My mother would take the Star bus for CDTA to Colony Center. Well, the Star bus, that was good because it arrived on time to take her. But then when she was at Colony Center, she'd have to give them about 45 minutes notice until they could run it through their system to pick her up.
At
She'd
least.
call me and say, Mark, come get me, I don't want to wait the 45 minutes. I'm like, then why didn't you call them 45 minutes before and then go meet the bus when it came to you? It's like, you have
It's-
to, but she didn't, she was so impatient that I had to drop what I was doing and I had to go and pick her
Right.
up. And then, she had to call and cancel the Star bus and stuff. So, I don't know, maybe I could, if I take my patient pills, maybe I could be a driver for you.
Well, you wouldn't need it because you would know what time to pick them up. And
That's right, and
It's-
I'd be, I'm probably the person who would just sort of put the seat down and my front seat back down and go to sleep until they were ready to leave,
that works.
in the fear that I'd be 10 minutes late.
You could
'Cause
do
I know
that.
that 10 minutes
No,
seems
we
like a lot.
talk about a lot, like Mark
minutes.
says, we have a lot of politicians on, and there's so many government programs, it's just, I always feel that the people, like a nonprofit organization, really could and should fill the gap. I mean, there's what to talk about, I don't want to get political now, even with food stamps, used to be people, churches and synagogues, help people out with food.
Most definitely.
And instead of now the government does it, so that people say, well, the government's taking care, I don't have to volunteer. But they're back to, really, you're thinking that there's senior help, and again, just so many subsidies. And, if there'd be more volunteers, and people are willing to volunteer, and it's beautiful, instead of having government do everything, there's charity, let the government take care of these poor people.
People are looking to volunteer.
Mhm.
And some people love volunteering with children, and some people love volunteering with senior citizens. And, you have people that like to go pick up trash in the park. There's all different levels of volunteerism.
And there's also people, the seniors sort of gravitate towards someone that they've had a positive experience with, I take it.
Exactly.
So if they said, I like Johnny, and he took me and he was very good, I want Johnny again for my next appointment. And then you have to disappoint them saying, well, Johnny's working that day that you have your appointment. He can't come get you.
But you know what?
So-
Dorothy is wonderful too.
You know,
And
that's
I
right.
can't say enough good things about the volunteers that we have.
Oh, I'm not.
They are
that's why I'm
absolutely
using-
amazing,
yeah.
though. Yeah, I mean, I was worried about that in the
Okay,
beginning.
Okay.
You know, it's like, oh, well, this person really likes this driver, and, you know, but they're equally happy with all the drivers that we have right now.
You know, we have this discussion with restaurants and tipping, and they want to roll it into the price. Do the seniors tip the driver?
No, they're not allowed to.
And the drivers are not allowed to accept
No.
the tip?
No.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
do you
there's-
find that they do something nice, like bake some cookies or bake something and give it to the driver and say thank you, or in that realm? I don't know, I'm just asking, because there's always an uncomfortable feeling when someone's doing you a favor and then
But they're not, because the passenger is paying for the ride.
paying Jewish Family Services.
Right.
Okay, well, you know,
Right.
you take a
So-
cab ride, you give a tip on top of whatever the fare is, and, you
Right.
know, even though you know that the cab driver is pretty much keeping the fare because he rented the medallion
Right.
and whatever. But I'm just saying,
Right.
you know, just in general, the human nature and the way the society's brought up, I mean, people didn't like it when they when they had no tipping at restaurants.
Right,
And in fact, now restaurants are doing away with the no tipping because people were leaving the tips anyway. So there's a whole culture, there's a whole mindset
right.
in the culture. I'm not just saying your group is isolated, you know, I'm
Right.
just saying it's just.
I mean, on occasion, I've had
so.
passengers like give me candy bars or, you know, little tchotchke type things. I have one lady who gave me a very small menorah.
Uh-huh.
It was,
You know,
Like
what's
right
Just
the
to show
thing-
gratitude,
yeah.
just to show.
or
that
they
they're
write
nice,
notes,
You know,
Really,
you know,
that's
which
nice
is-
then, that's important.
you know.
But you do try to coordinate me too, for one, like you say, maybe they want to go to a show. There's a show at Proctor's, they're throwing out, and say, well, you want to go and you want to go, so why should they have two drivers, you know? like-
exactly.
So that's also part of the coordination. of
Do you
trying-
have an
Yes.
email list that or a group list that you say, like a Yahoo groups, that you say, oh, someone's going to Proctor's to see The Lion King. Does anyone else going to see The Lion King that can give someone a ride? And
No,
no, you don't do that.
no.
But if it happens, then you figure you're 2 miles away, you're gonna just go with some other person, instead
Exactly.
of get two
Is
drivers.
there a reason? Is it safety? Is there other reasons why?
Well,
you
there's
don't?
confidentiality. I mean, people don't necessarily need to know what everybody else is doing. I
Right.
mean, if a passenger comes and says, oh, can you see if anybody else is going?
Yeah.
I have 50 people, and most of them, being senior citizens, are not online.
They're not?
No.
Okay. I know my mother
There's-
wasn't online. She
Yeah.
always wanted to be, but I wouldn't let her because then she'd really have a connection and attachment. I'd never get anything done. But my,
Yeah.
That's important also, I mean,
Yeah.
just saying that's an issue,
It
because
is.
the society is getting, I mean, just about seniors, it's just getting so internet, or, you know, there are people are saying, don't even have, you know, cash money. I mean, it's almost like if you don't have a computer, or, I mean, it's not up to that yet, but
Right.
it is getting to the point where you're gonna be isolated, you know?
But I
Well, that's
know-
the problem with senior citizens right now, is so many of them are isolated.
Because
You know,
of the
there's-
computers or things like that, they
Yeah.
can't. You know, everything's in the headlines, and you see it, you know. I know people are saying that. I mean, I of course, I've trained myself to be on Facebook, because I know that's where everybody is. I gotta, also, I'll be where
Well, if you want to
what the
see
people
pictures
are.
of the grandchildren,
Yeah,
and
no.
but most of these people I would say probably 70% of my passengers are 80 and up.
Uh-huh.
Really?
So they're not
not
there.
into the,
I think in another 10 years, we're going to see a huge difference, because it's the baby boomers that are aging.
And they're
And they're-
acclimated at an
I have
early
a-
age to
you know-
computers and emails and all
Exactly.
that.
I was
Right.
there with Mark, with my parents. They passed away in the meantime, but a good few years ago, they were in Florida, and that synagogue, the Chabad house, what they belonged to, gave them a little, you know, the Purim flyer, and they'd mail
Right.
it out. So my father was really wheelchair bound, and he wasn't going to synagogue anymore. So when I came to visit him, he says, well, tell the rabbi that I know we don't participate, but we still like seeing your literature. Don't cut us off the mailing list. So I went to the rabbi. He says, you know, my parents like to see your mailing list. Why are you cutting them off? He says, I don't want to cut off your parents, but I cut out the mailing list. I do everything on email now. That's all, saves me so much money. I mean, so there's just a regular story. Like,
Right.
my parents felt cut off because they didn't do email, and you know, how much email you hit a button. I mean, for a nonprofit or any organization, and here you have to print it up and mail it out, it saves them
Exactly.
thousands of dollars. But,
It's,
you know, but in the meantime, if you don't
Definitely
have it,
saving.
you're lost over here.
I used to oversee dinners in the Jewish community and ad journals and things like that. And I'll tell you, it was, you had to do a regular mailing, you had to follow up with a phone call, and then you had to remind them with an email, and then you had to do another phone call. People are just so busy and doing so many things that they don't always, you know, pay attention. And
That's true.
how many passengers do you have? I mean, you have 16 drivers.
right. Right now, we have about 50
50.
at this time. I mean, I have a huge file cabinet drawer full of people, but I don't know what happened to them. Either they've gone into a nursing home, could have passed
Is from
away,
your predecessor?
right,
Okay.
or they could have moved away, or they're just homebound and
And you
not
haven't,
able to get
you
out.
haven't put together an Excel spreadsheet to try to follow up with?
I'm just trying to
Get
keep
out.
up with what I have right now,
Okay.
and with our
Is it
new
a
executive,
full-time- Is it a full-time position?
no, it's part-time.
How many hours?
I'm there 20 hours a week,
Okay.
But do you pick up people from nursing homes, for example, or? I mean,
yes.
So that's part of the, they won't give transportation so much or at all?
Well, it depends on where they're going. I have one lady who's at Daughters of Sarah that she likes to go to Beth Emeth. They have a lunch and learn program. She
Right.
likes going to the JCC for Yiddish lessons. I mean, she's very, very active. So she's able to
But they
get,
won't do that for her? The home won't do
I
it?
don't think so.
It's interesting.
I don't think.
I mean, they
those-
need, the problem is, people need to be able to get in and out of a car on their own.
That's right.
So if someone that's in a wheelchair is not going to be able to do that.
You know, I was just thinking once you said, you know, the new generation will be more computer literate. On the other hand, everybody's talking about, I mean, because it's just the statistics, the seniors are going to be booming. You know, those people 70, 80, that they're just expecting that. They talk about Social Security, of course. Obviously, there's so many different facets, but
Right.
just as one is, you know, senior citizen services. There's just going to be a boom in people. People are living also, you know, people say that, someone told me that the biggest demographic of decades, or the people, a percentage is the 100 and over. Didn't say as many people again, as percentage. You know, now 100, you know, you see in Bidra, oh yeah, 102, 104. 4 was, wow, someone, that was headline news, wasn't it? They lived to 100, look at that, and now it's not
Well, I remember
commonplace.
Willard Scott
But it's-
with, on the Today Show with
Exactly.
the Smuckers thing, and, you know, there were very few, you know, when it was when you reached 100, you know, he'd have you on and have your picture and talk about what you were doing. Now, I just saw this woman in Brooklyn or in New York City died at age 116. I mean, you're getting
Yeah.
closer to the 120, may you live to be
Yeah.
120. You know, you're getting up there, and you might just have that.
It's
soon.
also
Yeah.
because they're not that infirmed also, it's because medical advances. People are 90s, you know, that's kind of, you know, they're, go to the JCC, they're jogging around
They're
and they're
still jogging.
90s,
They're in
you
road
know. I
races.
mean,
Well, I had a lady up until 6 months ago. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with her now because I've lost contact, but she was 98 years old and we were taking her grocery shopping every week.
yeah,
And
so
she
that's
wanted to
also,
push the cart. She wanted to,
Yeah.
she could walk, and she wanted to do it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're gonna get people, and I go to JCC, oh yeah, a guy says next to me in the locker room just the other day, yeah, I'm turning 91, and he's working out, and, you
That's
know,
right.
and it's just very normal, so I guess your job
Yeah.
is, you have,
Your
just-
job security?
Yeah, you know, coming up over here, because, you know, it's one thing to walk around, but to go into a car, I mean, my mother also, I get just personally, that she was good, she needed a walker, but she was good in walking around, but, you know, she hit the brake, she wanted to hit the brake and hit the gas pedal.
That's very
And she
common.
didn't, you know, hurt anybody, she said, but that's it, I'm not hurting myself, or I don't want to hurt anybody. And even though she was with it, and she needed
Right.
a little walker, so, you know, it's one thing to be with it and walking in a grocery store, it's another thing of motor vehicle.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, you saw that in, you know, Brandywine Diner, I think, in Schenectady. Someone went through the side of the diner, people were eating at the booth. You know, other stores, the
Yeah.
stewards and stuff, they go through the window.
It's scary.
you know.
That's One of the reasons why I like to stay away from Florida. I mean, there's such a high population of senior citizens, and
Gotta be careful.
Let me ask you
driving's
something.
terrifying.
I love what you wrote here on the, on your website about how you got the 5 in Project 5.
Oh, that's interesting.
So tell us.
It's based on the 5th commandment,
Well, that's interesting. I never knew
honoring
that.
thy mother and father.
I never knew
I
that.
think that's
And-
wonderful.
And when I get a new driver, I tell them, I said, I like to treat them as royalty.
Uh-huh.
You know, I help them in the car, I hold the door for them, I close the door for them, I help them with their seatbelt if they need it. I
Okay.
do whatever I can to,
It's interesting, it's a beautiful
Make them feel
idea
honored.
because, you know, I know it's something because we're such a transient community, like say people in Florida, my parents went to Florida. I mean, probably you can go to Israel, you can go to
Right.
South Florida. But the truth is, it's just that, I know what the Rebbe once said, Lubavitch Rebbe, to quote him, and his father, well, he was captured and he was a rabbi, but under the communists, he was put in the gulag, and the Rebbe, it came to America, and that someone who came out later took care, you know, he says, in years past, he took care of my father. He says, he did the mitzvah, the commandment for me, which really I was obligated to do. And the Rebbe himself says, I don't know if I could ever repay him for it. The Rebbe say, you know, for the Rebbe to say such a thing. You know, but that's really what you're
Right.
doing. I mean, other people really, that is the commandment of taking care of your parents, that they should become going in and going out. Those are the simple words, but, you know, transporting
Right.
them, you can make it nice English. And on the other hand, you know, you're doing it for these people. Maybe they're out of town or whatever. They can't, like you say, 9 to 5. There are people who have a job. They can't stop in the middle of a job.
Exactly.
Take their, you know, mother here and there. And you're in place of doing an incredible mitzvah.
and people want to remain independent. They don't want to have to sit around and wait for their son or daughter or niece or nephew to come and take them someplace.
No, you're
You know,
right.
they don't
Except
want to
when
wait
the
till
star
5,
bus-
6 o'clock at
Except when
night.
the star bus doesn't come pick you up.
No, but that's important because, again, Mark and I, politician, one of the big issues is because senior care, and like it is, it's only going to be, unfortunately, a growth industry of just how much,
Right.
you know, money social services is going to have to put out to help these seniors. But the more they can, you know, you have a person in a nursing home, compare a residential home, assisted living,
Right.
compared to independent, it's so much more economical. But again, they do have, so you can't just, okay, sit in your apartment and just wither away.
Exactly.
They do need some services, and, you know, you're providing that, so it's not only for helping these people out, but really helping out society, you know, just instead of just farming the way. And also, like you say, it's just even psychological, you can, you know, I meet people, of course, being a rabbi all the time, someone's independent, like you say, and just pushing their shopping cart, like you were gave the example, hey, I'm still with it, I could do it, all right, I can't drive, but I'm still with it, I can, oh my, you put a person in a nursing home, and within
See
a good
how
few
fast,
months, they're
yeah.
going downhill psychologically.
Very true.
All right, no wonder the people at Daughters of Sarah won't come on the show. I'm teasing you, no. I hear things like that. No, I'm just teasing.
It's the truth
I
over
joke,
there.
I jest, it's okay. Anyway, I noticed that prior to this position, you spent a lot of years in the medical industry. You were, you know, at St. Peter's Hospital as an information associate, and during that, about the same time, you were also a medical billing specialist, Capital Region Cardiology. Is
Right.
that Eagles, Vicky?
It is.
Oh, okay, I know him, okay. So, you know, but you spent a lot, you know, a couple of decades in doing both of those positions simultaneously.
I did.
You're very ambitious.
I don't know about that. It seemed to work, and you know, I enjoy working with senior citizens, and again, with the working in the business office for a cardiologist, you talk to a lot of senior citizens, and I help them through their insurance nightmares.
Right.
You know, dealing with Medicare and Medicaid, and some of the Blue Crosses were awful.
You know,
You know,
it's
it's-
the truth. My sister's an oncologist, and, you know, people are always saying because cancer is like in the increase. She says, but that's also a problem with seniors. She says, I'll tell you the truth, though. I don't know how much it's an increase, but it's like senior citizens. You know, they're 80, 90, so years gone by, people didn't live till 80, 90, so you
Right.
didn't see the cancer. They died of something else.
Exactly.
So now just you see a lot more cancer while they're the seniors. So the medical
Right.
services, of course, is just incredible. I mean, like when you were doing, going to see doctor appointments, and my parents also at the end, I go from one doctor to another doctor, to this doctor, and that doctor. A regular person goes once a year, checkup, an eye doctor, once
Right.
every few years, but a senior is like every other day, they're going to
It's their job.
medical.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It becomes their job.
It's the job to go see a doctor.
It is.
Yeah,
And it's, they don't hear good things all the time, so it's difficult.
yes.
So it's nice to have someone who's a friendly ear that
Mhm.
they can speak with. And
And what was your experience at St. Peter's?
I worked in the ER,
Oh,
doing registration and unit clerking.
Not good.
So I saw,
Triage is the middle word there. in the ER.
yeah, I did triage too.
Well, someone comes into the ER with, a broken fingernail, they're not going to be taken right away when someone else comes in with a heart condition.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you call an ambulance for it or not.
No, it doesn't matter.
It's
And
priority is priority.
That's right. And I've been, because I've never really been sick, but I've been with friends who needed to go to the ER, and their illness or what they were there for wasn't as severe as what the other people were there for.
Right.
So it was a 6-hour wait.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I also do with Project 5 is if someone has a doctor's appointment, that trumps, no pun intended, that trumps a lunch date,
Yes.
So you have to, that's what I'm
If I
saying, it
have
must be hard
to
to coordinate,
It is.
You got 5 people need a ride and 4 drivers. I mean, that's, I could imagine, just
Yeah.
logistics problem. But just a little bit on another note that you were just saying about even psychologically, I mean, seniors are isolated a lot. And, they don't have friends or they don't get out so much, but just even probably talking to the driver, another friend,
Exactly.
you have 10, 15 minutes talking with a person about nothing. A doctor, you can't just sit there and schmooze
Right.
it off or something, so you're going to her. It's like, here it is, it's just another, hey, how you doing? And, just that friendly act is, like I say, certain things are more valuable than diamonds, and just having a friend. We always say people and a spouse and a friend, it's not just money. And for a senior, just to talk things over, hey, how's everything? Did you
definitely.
see the headlines and blah, 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 blah. That's something valuable too, I think, for
I also
for a
recommend to my
person.
drivers, don't talk politics.
No politics, no religion, and
Exactly.
the third one doesn't matter
Well,
at that
religion
point.
is not so bad, because everybody's Jewish, but,
Well, but it's so many different denominations and types that you
Right.
just don't really want to bring it up and get into an issue.
usually, pretty much everyone is pretty even-keeled and,
So I
just,
It's
generally-
Hanukkah, say, hey, Hanukkah, what do you
Right,
mean?
Right.
but you say,
Right.
oh, I couldn't pick you up because it was Shavuos, and well, I didn't, I tell you, my best
well,
bosses were
then we
non-Jews.
have people that will do it.
Right, but my best bosses were non-Jews because, you showed them a Jewish calendar, you said, this is a holiday, they were like, hey, that's fine, no problem. The Jewish boss would tell me, what, I'm not taking off for that holiday, why do you have to, why are you so special? Just,
That's
I'm
the
not
wonderful
taking-
thing about working for Jewish Family Services, we get all those holidays off.
There you
That's
go.
right, and you probably get some other ones too,
Mostly the Jewish ones,
Well,
but,
but Thanksgiving, you probably
Yeah,
have something,
yeah,
and stuff,
Thanksgiving,
so.
the major
The
ones.
So I'm just saying.
Which
that
is good.
there's, I also, you also taught at Bet Schrager Hebrew Academy.
I did.
think. Okay, teacher's aide, permanent sub. Not a sub,
was-
substitute teacher.
Right.
Right. And how was that experience? Who was the head of school there?
At the time,
It was before Rami Strasberg?
yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
Grossberg? or-
Nope, it was before.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Okay. It was '02, yeah. It was,
I don't remember
yeah.
his
And
name.
then you also.
Benji Cohen
Oh,
and
Benji Cohen.
I don't remember his name.
Okay,
All right.
and then, close to my heart, you were also a house assistant with ASIPA.
That was a million years ago.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean,
Yes.
88 to 89, I was at the Capitol at the time,
Okay.
and that's when ASIPA was really going through some of its major
Yes, it was, and that's why I was only there from 88 to 89.
That's right. I have a friend who worked there. It was kind of, the board was changing and everything, and they were setting things up in Troy at that time, and
That was
So-
after
ASIPA.
ASIPA.
Yeah, yeah.
They became NIST after.
Right, right.
They went back to NIST, I should say.
But that's part of the issue
Right.
with the CEQA, why they transferred over,
Yeah.
and Pat Snyder, and, you know.
Yeah, that was,
Listen, Mark, we're out of time, but we're,
No,
Lisa,
I tell you, you are
What?
you are a perfect fit. I could just see you really are so genuine for for the position that you're in, and I just
Thank you.
wish you were there full time. So you gotta figure
I
out
really
a
like
way.
being part-time, though.
You like being part-time, okay.
well, you have a
Well,
family.
I'm
you'll take
happy,
care of
right,
them.
I have small children, so I want to be
Time
home
to
for
be with
them.
It's
Right.
important. Lisa, you're doing great work, as Mark is telling us.
Thank
Keep
you.
on going, do the good work, and do it with good health.
So good
And
to
anytime
have
you want to
on.
volunteer, let me know.
I will. We'll have you on
Or
real soon.
anybody else for volunteer. all our
Exactly, always
viewers
looking for
also.
volunteers.
All
I'll get
right.
you an application.
Continued success.
Thank you.